Hey everybody, welcome to Strategic Health TV. I'm your host, Dr. John LaBrie. This is episode 1, and we're going to be talking about strategies on how to get your hips to move better and feel better. So, hip issues are one of the most common things that we see in our office, and the reason for that really is because we sit a lot. In fact, the average Canadian sits for about 13 hours a day. Now, on top of that, when we're not sitting, we're also not always necessarily exercising or moving the way that we should, and as a result, a lot of different issues start to set in with the muscles in and around our hips, even the tendons, the ligaments, and even the hip capsule themselves. And over time, that can lead to tension and loss of mobility and even pain. So today, to give you an idea, there's a couple of specific things that happen during this process, and one of them is when we sit for a long period of time, our glute muscles, our butt muscles back here, gradually get what's called stretch weakened. So imagine these are your muscle fibers. Normally they should overlap nice and full to give you full strength. But because they're in a chronic stretched position, when we're sitting for so long, the overlap gets reduced and makes them weaker. All right. Something else happens during this process where your butt muscles essentially get neurologically inhibited, or basically it means your butt muscles will get turned off. Okay. Now, on top of that, what ends up happening is we have a muscle in the front of our hips, right in through here, called your iliopsoas muscle. And when we sit for long periods of time, kind of like how I'm in a crouched position now, that muscle gets short. And when it gets short, over time, gradually it stays short. So even when you go to stand up and open up your hips, that muscle can still pull tight, and that's where you can start to feel like it's getting harder to sit up or to stand up straight from a seated position. So today I'm going to be showing you some different movements and strategies that you can use to not only strengthen those butt muscles, your hip muscles back here, but also to stretch the muscle in the front of your hips as well. All right. So without further ado, the first movement that we're going to do to help to strengthen your butt muscles, your glutes, is what's called a bridge up. And so I'll demonstrate that for you. And for the bridge up, what you're going to be doing is we'll have you laying on your back, okay, flat on your back with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and palms down. And from this position, what I'm going to have you do is clench your butt muscles. So imagine you're tightening up your butt muscles. And I'm going to have you take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, you're going to engage your core muscles, keeping your butt muscles tight, and you're going to lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Just like that. You're going to hold for about 3 seconds, and then you're going to slowly bring it back down, okay? So this movement, that was 1 repetition. Again, it engages your glute muscles, and what I'm going to have you do is do 1 set of 10 repetitions, holding for 3 seconds in the beginning, and gradually increase it to the point where you can do 2 sets of 10 repetitions, holding for 5 seconds, okay? Now, the next move is what's called hip abduction. And the way that we do that is I'm going to start by laying on my left side here, supporting my head and neck with my hand. You'll notice that my legs are stacked on top of each other, right leg on top of my left, and they're nice and straight, parallel with my body. From this position, I'm going to again tighten my glute muscles, my butt muscles. I'm going to deep breath in and out, engaging my core. And as I do that, I'm going to slowly raise my right leg up as high as I can. Hold it for 2-3 seconds, and then bring it back down, okay? Nice and slow. Now this is 1 repetition. Obviously I'm using my right leg, so we'll do 1 set of 10 repetitions on the right leg. Then you'll switch sides to do your left leg, okay? 1 set of 10 repetitions, holding for 3 seconds up at the top. And then eventually you'll graduate to the point where you can do 2 sets of 10 repetitions, holding for 5 seconds up at the top, okay? Now, the last strengthening move that I'm going to show you for your glutes is what's called bird dog. And so for the bird dog position, you're going to be on all fours, just like this, hands and knees. Imagine there's a nice straight line from my ear through my shoulder to my hip, okay? And from this position, again, before we do any of these movements, we engage our glute muscles, we tighten them up as well as our core. So I'm going to deep breath in and out, tightening up my glute muscles, and I'm going to raise my right arm so that it's parallel with my body, and my left leg, keeping my knee bent so that it also becomes parallel with my body. Hold for 3 seconds, and then bring it Now, we're gonna do the opposite side. So now my left arm and right leg are going to go up, keeping the knee bent as I do that. Bring it up at the same time. Hold for 3 seconds, and then bring it back down, okay? Those together is 1 repetition. So we'll do 1 set of 10 repetitions, holding for 3 seconds. Again, gradually working yourself up to doing 2 sets of 10 repetitions, holding for 5 seconds up at the top, okay? Now the last move that we're gonna do is, again, to stretch out these hip flexor muscles, okay? And so to stretch that out, I'm gonna be on my knees in the starting position. And in this position, I'm gonna bring my right leg up so that my foot is in front on the ground and in front of my right knee. And from this position, what I'm gonna do is slowly allow my body to shift, my hips to shift forward. As I do that, you can see my hip joints start to open up, and that's where we can get that stretch in through this hip joint. Now notice, I'm not doing this as I lean forward, and I'm not doing this either. I wanna make sure that my body is perpendicular to the ground as my hips go forward. Now, if you're doing this and you don't quite feel the stretch through there, what you can do is put your foot further forward to get a deeper stretch, or what you can do is bring your arm up parallel with your body and then lean over towards the opposite side during this stretch. Now, while you're doing this stretch, you're going to be holding for 1 minute during the stretch itself, breathing deeply during the stretch and progressing further and further into the stretch. So you should be able to stretch more and more during this time. Then we'll have you switch to the other leg, same protocol, and then you'll repeat for 1 minute on each leg again, okay? So there you have it. These are the exercises. They're pretty simple and easy. They might be challenging at first though. As you get into it, you'll find that it'll get a lot easier to do, and you'll be able to increase in repetitions and sets, as well as the time that you're able to hold it for. During these exercises, of course, if you feel any shearing pain or serious pain or anything that really concerns you, stop. Give me a call at the office or stop by, send me a message on Facebook or email and let me know, and we'll see what's going on and see what we can do to troubleshoot to make sure that you can still get the hips that you want to have, okay? The last thing I'm going to say is hopefully you find this valuable. If you'd love to learn more tips on mobility and stretching, not just your hips, but the rest of your body, check out my workshop, my mobility workshop coming up on November 18th from 11 a.m. to 12 noon at the Almont Fitness Center. It's completely free, and there again, I'm going to be showing you different tricks that you can use for stretching everything from basically your head all the way down to your toes. So thanks again, have a fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.